Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back for another video. This video is for Season 2, Episode 2 of Interview with the Vampire, titled, Do You Know What It Means to Be Loved by Death? Now, in this season, we're really exploring what Claudia and Louis are trying to do in their search for other vampires, what it really means to them, more so what it means to Claudia, because she is all about trying to find other vampires that basically aren't terrible like what she's seen. The only vampires that she's had any exposure to are her makers, which are Louis and Lestat, and then she came across that other one who turned out to assault her, and she just doesn't know anything about vampires being anything but terrible. And this is all about her journey to find that, to find where they came from, to find any information really about the vampire as a species. And well, it really comes to a head in this episode to where they are in their journey. They are searching what is now post-World War II Paris, France, and they get their wish. They come across the Coven of Vampires that runs the Vampire Theater, and it really comes down to that they are watching them from afar. This vampire group, Armand is watching them, and he approaches Louis in a park and introduces himself and whatnot. And this is where it kind of takes off, where they go on their journey, the next step of their journey, trying to find out really what it means to be a vampire and just how to cope with everything that really means. And Claudia, she has a lot of mixed emotions, I think. She has this grudge that she's still holding against Louis for choosing Lestat over her, but yet she doesn't want to be alone. And she is trying to understand what it all means, what it means to be a vampire. And at the same time, she wants to be amongst her own kind. It's just that ideal of being in a pack, I suppose. And, well, in this episode, they get that. They meet the group of vampires known as the Coven that runs this theater. They get invited to one of their shows to really get exposed to what this group is all about. And within the show, they see how these vampires are basically vampires pretending to be humans, pretending to be vampires. And that's kind of a direct quote from the original movie, but that's just the best way to explain these characters. They are people that are there, or they're vampires that are there to manipulate. They're there to basically do everything they do as vampires, but out in the open. They run this theater and they put on this show, and it's all about manipulation. Being able to basically, what is the finale of the show is to kill someone in front of the audience, and the audience think it's completely part of the show. They don't have an inkling that it is actually someone being murdered in front of them by real vampires. So this whole thing has Claudia just on the edge of her seat with excitement. She's loving every second of this. Well, Louis, he has his reservations. He sees what they're doing, and Louis, being the type of vampire that he is, he's not someone that is 100% all about the kill. He will kill to survive if he has to. He still kind of has this diet that he follows, where we see it again in this episode, where he feeds on rats, he feeds on pigeons, he feeds on vermin, because I just don't think he can live with the idea of just callously taking someone's life unless they absolutely deserve it, which is what we kind of saw last season, where he was killing thieves and murderers and whatnot. And in this, it's been, I want to say, about 5 years later, he still kind of has that moral compass more so. So it's just them trying to find some place to belong, especially for Claudia. I think she just feels so alone, and she doesn't want to spend this eternal life by herself or with just Louis, it seems. But as she's in the show, you can just see the excitement in her eyes. She is just all for this. And after the show, they have their little meet and greet backstage, and it's during this whole thing that they are introducing themselves, but they still kind of hold back, because this whole time they're trying to withhold any information, because as a vampire, as you may see from the series, they can kind of read each other's thoughts. They can communicate telepathically. So in this whole scenario, they really have to watch or be careful of what they think to each other, or just what could be on the surface of their mind, because during the whole introduction phase of meeting all these vampires and seeing that they're pretty ruthless vampires, there's not really such a thing as a kind vampire from what we've seen anyways, other than Louis. He has a little bit of restraint. But we see them getting their introductions, and then they notice this painting up on the wall, and they ask who it is. But this painting is actually of Lestat. He is one of the co-founders of the theater. And so they really kind of have to play it off like they don't know who it is. So they really have to play coy about the fact that they know that this painting is a Lestat, because it's kind of a rule, more or less, that you cannot kill your own kind. That's kind of a thing amongst the vampires. And so they really have to hide the fact that they don't know who this is. They have to hide the fact that they believe, anyways, that he's dead, although we know he's not. And so it's all about keeping that secret, and this secret is eventually what leads to Claudia's downfall, at least, and it's kind of a punishment to Louis. But we won't really go into that. We'll see how it plays out, because I believe it's going to play out a little bit different maybe than what I've seen and what I know. But kind of moving forward, they do kind of form a bond with these vampires, or at least Claudia does. She's all about it, and they go out on this hunt, and they wind up at this mansion where they slaughter everybody in sight. Claudia loves every second of it. She's really taking to being in this group, and Louis, he's kind of holding back. But this is the moment, especially at this particular moment, where they're at this mansion. All the other vampires have since run in. Armand and Louis hang back to kind of talk, and Armand can tell that they're holding things back, and they're doing well by cloaking what they're thinking. But this is the moment that Louis and Armand start to fall for each other, and it's going to become a tricky relationship, because I think Armand is very manipulative, and Louis is kind of love-struck, and too love-struck to even see that. And I think that's also what leads to a rift between him and Claudia, because we do see a clip from a later episode where Claudia is yelling at Louis, saying, "You choose another one over me." So there's going to be some drama between them. I think it's going to lead to where maybe they part ways for a moment, or something to where she is taken advantage of, and this is how she winds up in the situation that she does. So it was another great episode. I'm really excited to see how the rest of the season plays out, how it's going to differ from what I know, and how far this series is really going to carry, because up to this point, at least this main part of the story, I don't really know much about the Interview with the Vampire books. We got the original movie, which was decent for its time. Then we got Queen of the Damned, which was a train wreck. And I think that's why they stopped making those movies, because that one was so poorly received. Plus, it was just complete opposite from what we saw from the first movie, being a completely different style. And, of course, we didn't have the original actors come back for any other parts. And it was just a weird story. So I'm excited to see how it plays out and how it's going to be different from what I know. And, just how much different. So anyways, that's just my review for the most recent episode. It was a good episode. I'm excited for the rest of the season and what they do. But if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, of course, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. So until next time, guys, take care. Bye.